by concerned pastors in Kumasi on some regulations concerning the reopening of the churches. We, the concerned pastors from different churches in Kumasi in Ashanti Region, meeting on Monday, 8th June 2020, discussion on matters of concern regarding some strict regulations conflicting with our Christian practices. We have resolved to express our concern to the President of the Republic of Ghana, Minister of Religious and Chieftaincy, Minister of Information, Minister of Education, and various leadership groupings in Ghana. Your Excellency, the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. 1. Why should the church be given a limited hour for service on Sundays? Knowing very well what really goes into church service on Sundays, why these restrictions and the motive behind these regulations. Surprisingly, other organizations and some institutions have been allowed to operate without restrictions to time. Why only the church? For example, we have market women who go to market from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have institutions of essential service who go to work 8 hours every day. Are they not part of Ghanaians? Why the church has been restricted to only 1 hour service? We also have schools operating without restrictions to time. We have other offices and private companies that operate without time bound. We still want to ask the question, why the church being restricted in the ongoing registration exercise, which start from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for almost 10 hours. Why not the church also be given the same freedom to operate as other organizations? 2. Why the church should be given a limited number of 100 people without considering the size of the church's auditorium? In a situation where a church has a membership of 500,000 or 5,000 capacity auditorium, and they have been restricted to attend service with only 100 members, where on earth can this be possible? While we have market centers which can accommodate 5,000 people at a time, still operating from Monday to Sunday with no restricted number of people. We have other institutions and organizations such as schools, hospitals, banks, and market centers operating by enforcing wearing of nose masks and washing of hands and the use of alcoholic-based hand sanitizer. Why not the church also giving the same freedom which has been given to the other bodies to operate without being restricted to a specific number of people, but rather applying social distances, washing of hands, and the use of face masks, thermometer guns, and sanitizer, which has been stated in the government regulational intervention policies. 3. Why people of underlying diseases be excluded from church services? According to our faith, James chapter 5, verse 14, Amplified Bible, is anyone among you sick? He should call in the church elders, and they should pray over him, anoint him with oil in the Lord's name. In the Bible, there was a typical example in the book of Exodus. There was an outbreak of epidemic in Egypt, but God's people, Israel, were not affected because of their faith in God. During the National Day of Prayer and Fasting on the 25th day of March 2020, the president said, I quote, If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and turn from their evil ways, then I will hear from God, from heaven, and heal their land. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. Even in his address, the president himself knows that the church has a solution to this pandemic. If the government will allow the church to exercise her faith in matters of healing, Ghana will be a better place. Example of our Christian leaders that God uses in situations like this are as follows. 1. Apostle John J. Lack, during 1821 pandemic, he prayed for people who were affected with various during that time, with various diseases during that time, and they got healed, even to the point of challenging the doctors to try him with the virus. The virus died right in his palm. This is a clear demonstration of God's power. 2. Bishop Oyedepo from Winners Chapel International in Nigeria prayed for some COVID-19 patients and 90 people recovered instantly. Your Excellency, Mr. President, if the nation will put their trust in God by allowing the church to exercise these various gifts and door in Christendom, believe you me, the COVID-19 patient lying down in our various hospitals beds can be healed within a twinkling of an eye. In Ghana, we have also blessed with great men of God whom the world admire, such as Bishop Ajinasari of Perez Chapel, Bishop Dagwood Mills from Lighthouse Chapel, and Archbishop Duncan Williams, Reverend Jima Santi of Maranatha Evangelistic Ministry Kumasi, and many more. We believe if these notable men of God are allowed to visit our hospitals with prayer, this virus will be a thing of the past, as it has happened in Tanzania. In Tanzania, the president did not close down the church, because the president said that it's only church and Christian who can pray. And by the grace of God, now Tanzania is free from COVID-19 because the church were not closed and they prayed. It can also happen here in Ghana. In Matthew 21, verse 30 to 14, Jesus said that the church is the house of prayer. During the president's address concerning Ebola in the National Cathedral fundraising, the president said, the disease could not come to Ghana because of the prayers of the church. Upon this statement, we believe that the president believed in the prayers of the church, and therefore he should allow the church to operate with social distances, washing of hands, using of sanitizers, and wearing of nose masks, as it has been done in other public institutions. In reference to this historical evidence, we believe that churches must be allowed to operate without being specific to numbers. The reason being that we can also follow the government measures given to the other institutions and organizations such as schools, hospitals, banks, market centers by enforcing wearing of nose masks, using of sanitizers, and washing of hands and social distances. Your Excellencies, Mr. President, we want to draw your attention to this. Have you considered the air-conditioned buses we travel with long hours? Air-conditioned facilities we go to like banks, hospitals, and others. If all these facilities are still in operation, we think that the church deserves a better consideration. 4. Concerning our children. Your Excellency, in your address, you made a statement that children should not be allowed to go to church services. Obviously, it implies that children are to be left home. Have you also considered the danger of leaving them at home and the ripple effects that could come out of it? We all know that even in the midst of these abnormal times, People still go to market with their children. They go to banks and other places with their children. And another thing is that they also travel with them in an air-conditioned buses whenever they travel. Can't we also, as a church, be allowed to put measures in place to accommodate these children without fearing and trembling? Fifth, question fifth, concerning on churches that operate in schools. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we have greater concerns with these churches that operate in schools. We all know that these churches are owned by pastors or people, and they also have members that follow them. And it is the little contributions of these people that has brought this nation to this far. We are therefore appealing to you to discuss with the Ministry of Education to reconsider placing ban on churches that operate in schools, even though the churches support the schools whenever the needs arise. Moreover, we have been told that religious services are not allowed in schools, in our schools, campus. It is unfortunate to train the future leaders of this country without considering issues of our faith. Faith can never be joked with because it plays a major role in a nation's development. In our educational policy, it has been stated categorically that we should train the child spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, economically, financially, and socially. Why now the change? Worship service in our schools cannot be taken out because it matters to our faith. 6, that will be the last statement. Your Excellency, Mr. President, we have been contemplating on why should the church be treated as non-essential organization. 1, a church that has helped in building schools, a church that has helped in building hospitals, a church that has helped in developing communities, a church that has helped in social services. We think the church deserves a better consideration than this. Since when did the church is seen as non-essential by Ghanaians? Some media personnel and other individual Ghanaians have presented the church as non-essential to the society. In reference to the church's historical records, many hospitals such as St. Dominic Hospitals, Akwatia, St. Joseph Hospital, Duakwanta, Methodist Hospitals, Ankasi, and many more, all these and mission schools were built by the churches. We are therefore appealing to the President, the Media Commission, and any other bodies who wants to address issues that relates to the church should seek advice from the bodies that deals with religious matters. If religious issues are left in the hands of media and other individual persons to address, it's like allowing a plumber to do surgical operation. We appreciate the service of the media and any other persons, but it must be done the way it's supposed to be done. In conclusion, the church has played a vital role spiritually and physically in the development of this nation, of this country, in terms of transforming lives and solving problems within the society in which we live, and had been praying for the country, especially during election period and in normal times. We therefore appealing to the President, Minister of Information, Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, and Minister of Education to reconsider the decision on the reopening of the churches. It is true that rumors have been going on about some men of God with indecent behavior, but that does not mean we don't have truly men of God in Ghana who can intercede on behalf of this nation. Finally, We want to take this opportunity to encourage all pastors and church members to stand firm and pray for the country, yourself, family, and the church for revival. Long live Ghana. Long live Mr. President. Thank you.